The referees are bending and distorting the rules in order to try to correct mistakes that should never have been made in the first place. I think the game got a bit out of control the last couple of minutes, and it resulted in quite a bit of unnecessary trash talking.
He was detained in December after allegedly stealing perfume. Is this a blow for the EuroLeague's officiating department? Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Give Me Control, hosted by me, Donatas Urbonas, and a former top-level European referee and the referee coach, Todd Warnick. Today on the show, we'll delve into the controversial call at the end of Fenerbahce and Monaco game. Of course, we'll discuss how the extraordinary pressure coming at officials impacted the game 2 between Panathinaikos and Maccabi. And for the end, there's the scandal in the EuroLeague involving an official, Matej Boltauzer, who was allegedly being caught stealing at Belgrade's airport, and we're going to discuss the impact of the scandal and also what EuroLeague should do about this whole situation. So this episode is packed. Let's get right into. We have this Fenerbahce and Monaco situation. Todd, the control is yours.
Let's get into it right away. I'm going to go to the glasses here, if you don't mind. We need to concentrate on this play from the second Monaco Fenerbahce game because it's complicated and it's also wrong. So on this play from the second game of Monaco Fener, Mike James drives. He gets stripped nicely by Scotty. There's a loose ball, and Nigel Hayes-Davis goes to the ground and he loses the ball. Okobo regains possession for Monaco, and then he gets fouled by Guduric. In the meantime, what's happened, Charis has gone crazy because he thinks that Donatas Monteunis fouled Hayes-Davis during the loose ball. Because he goes crazy, he gets a technical foul. Now the referees get together to try to understand why Hayes-Davis went to the floor, and they decide to review the play according to the EuroLeague rule for physical altercation, which is a term that the EuroLeague has made up instead of the phrase act of violence, which is the official FIBA rulebook terminology. After review, they decide that Monteunis has committed an unsportsmanlike foul on Hayes-Davis. So instead of 2 shots for Hayes-Davis, we have a much more complicated situation of 1 shot for Monaco for the Charis technical foul, 2 shots for Hayes-Davis for the unsportsmanlike foul, and then possession for Monaco because Fener lost the right of possession because of Guduric's foul on Okobo. Out of all this mess, Monaco comes out ahead. But, Donatas, there's even a bigger problem. The referees are bending and distorting the rules in order to try to correct mistakes that should never have been made in the first place. All this situation could have been avoided had Monteunis been called at the correct time for his contact with Hayes-Davis. And just let me explain a little bit more. This is not the intention nor the correct use of the FIBA act of violence rule. Monteunis' contact with Hayes-Davis, it's not an act of violence. If, and that's a big if, he makes a foul, and I say that because it's not clear. If you stop the video and look when Hayes-Davis falls, it's not clear that Nigel just doesn't trip over his own feet. It's a normal foul, if any, and not unsportsmanlike, and certainly not an act of violence. Then when we go to the monitor, you can hear the referee say that Monteunis tripped Hayes-Davis.
It's a trip of Monteunis.
In order to make that judgment, a referee needs to have during review clear and conclusive visual evidence, and there is nothing that indicates in any way that Hayes-Davis gets tripped. So you have a situation where referees are using the rules incorrectly in a variety of ways in order to correct a situation that should have never have happened in the first place. So that's sort of a long explanation.
Just to make it clear, so it should have been just a regular foul for Monteunis, and we're sending Fenerbahce to shoot the 2 free throws. And if Hayes-Davis makes it, we have a tie game, right? Now, in this case, we have Monaco having 1 point advantage because of the technical foul that was called on Charis.
That's exactly correct, unfortunately. It's not the first time in the series that the referees played around with the act of violence rule, or what they call in the EuroLeague the physical altercation rule. It brings us back to game 1 between Monaco and Fener. During the third quarter, Mike James takes a mid-range jumper along the baseline, which misses. He goes to the ground. Fener gets the rebound. And during transition, Marko Guduric from Fener is fouled by Monaco's Alpha Diallo. In the meantime, James comes up limping, and the referees get together and decide to check the replay, during which they discover that James landed on the defender, Yam Madar, that he landed on Madar's foot. They decide, after review, to give Madar an unsportsmanlike foul. Again, the referees are bending and distorting the act of violence rule in order to correct a mistake that shouldn't have been made in the first place. Donatas, take a look at the lead referee under the basket. Instead of staying with the shooter, he turns his head and follows the shot to the basket. That's not his job. It's his job to stay with the shooter. This type of fundamental error in officiating technique results in an unfortunate and altogether avoidable situation. In the end, James gets 2 shots, but Monaco loses possession of the subsequent foul by Diallo on Guduric. In this case, Monaco comes out on the short end of the stick because of a referee mistake that should never have happened. These are 2 obvious plays that referees should have gotten right and then should not have had to bend or distort the rules to try to correct mistakes that should never have happened.
Is it possible to address the fact that the rules have been, let's say, moderated throughout the season, or we should keep it off the record?
This foot-to-foot contact on March 19th, not August 19th or September 19th preseason, on March 19th, the EuroLeague sent out a directive.
This was only a short part of the entire Give Me Control episode. If you want to watch the complete show, please subscribe to BN Plus on basketnews.com/plus.